Hey everybody, welcome back once again. We're on to part 2 of the video series for tilt, and we wanted to go down the nature trail for you guys, but unfortunately the Mississippi River is flooding it out. But we're here in Tunica, Mississippi, with a beautiful background here to show you guys. The topic for tilt video 2 is what causes tilt and preventative ways to minimize tilt from your game to make sure that it doesn't affect you in such a negative way. This is one thing that I've been working on for years. I've gotten really good at it. Even after taking some really large losses, I'm able to bounce back the next day, play fine, keep the emotions on an even keel. So here are some things that cause tilt in poker and outside of poker. Some are obvious and some aren't so obvious. It's just really important to recognize what can cause tilt, so then once you recognize it, you can put it in the back of your head, and when it comes up, you can tell yourself like, okay, I'm becoming emotional right now. I'm no longer logical because this has happened. Kind of like a if A then B situation. So a couple causes for tilt would be like losing a lot of 50-50s and running bad. Say even in a tournament or cash game, you just get it in 50-50 situations and you keep losing them. Having a bad dealer, rude players, or a slow game, this can cause a lot of frustration out of you, and you have to recognize that. Fighting with someone else at the table, kind of having like that enemy at the table. You want to avoid those kind of situations. Having a death in the family is obviously terrible. You need to definitely stay away from the table at that point. I've played with a lot of people actually that, you know, you're like, hey, how you doing, man? And they're like a friend. They're like, well, actually, my dad died yesterday, and you're like, oh my god, that's terrible. But in the back of your head, you're like, why in the world are you playing? There's no possible way you can be playing good poker at that point. You just need to deal, with the death. Having no social life, friends or family or boyfriend, girlfriend is going awful. These are all outside issues that need to be taken care of. You can tilt much quicker if you're in a fight with your significant other, or you don't have a social life at all. If you're having financial struggles or trouble at work, you need to take care of these things as well. Having financial struggles is really tough to gamble at that point, especially if you're having trouble paying your bills. You're not going to be playing well. You're going to be playing with fear of loss and regret. Being sick obviously is terrible. I play sometimes when I'm sick. It doesn't affect me as much, but other people can definitely affect you. Certain addictions, actually most addictions will cause you to tilt. Let's say you're addicted to drugs or porn or whatever. If you're playing for a long session and you're not getting your fix, it's going to affect you in a negative way, and you're going to start becoming emotional or frustrated, or so on and so forth. If things are going wrong with your possessions, like today my watch broke, I'm pissed. Like that sucks. Or like say you're having plumbing problem at your house, or your car issues. Make sure these things aren't affecting your game as well, because they can definitely stack up and get frustrating. Never pulling in a pot. These are inside issues now during the game that can cause tilt. So if you're playing a long time and you're playing a few pots but you're never winning a hand, that can get really frustrating. Being card dead forever, pretty much the same thing. A player winning a big pot off of you and then leaving, doing a hit and run, that probably is one of my biggest tilt factors right there. Is when someone pulls a large pot for me and then they leave, that can throw me off a little bit. So if there's a bad player at the table and there's a lot of people berating them or telling them that they're playing bad or that they shouldn't be doing that, and that player ends up leaving because obviously they don't want to be made fun of or berated like that, and that can be really frustrating as a good player yourself, because you're obviously not going to be making fun of the bad player. You want them to stay, and if they leave because of other people, that pisses me off, and probably should you. So whatever you do, don't do that to bad players. It's a horrible idea. So if you're playing a tournament and you have a large stack and you end up losing a big pot and you get down to a short stack, a lot of people tilt off the rest of their chips at that point, which is also terrible. You need to compose yourself. There's a lot of ways to come back from a short stack. There's many top pros in the world that are actually excellent short stackers that put themselves in amazing spots to do well in tournaments at short stack. So if you ever have a big stack, don't tilt off the rest of your chips if you lose a big pot. I've seen people do it over and over, and it's terrible. Online poker, if you have a disconnect and you're in a large pot, that happens to me quite a bit. It sucks. Or if you misclick in a spot and you end up losing a large pot that way. It's all about recognizing the situation for what it is, how it's gonna tilt you, and then not allowing your emotions take over, and that's why it's so important to recognize these situations. I got a couple more, like being shown a bluff can throw some people off. I enjoy it when I get shown a bluff because then I can understand the way they played the hand. It's actually really dangerous when someone shows me a bluff and they don't understand that, because I look back through the whole hand and I puzzle it out, and instead of just instantly getting mad at myself like, oh, I should have called there, I look at the situation, the why they bluffed or when they bluffed and how they did it. Getting sucked out on, it goes with running bad. Getting coolered, or one of the most frustrating is when a maniac is playing tons of hands. They're really aggressive. You finally have a decent hand to call them down with, and they have a better hand. Like, they finally made a hand even though they're showing junk to everybody else. That can be really frustrating as well. But stick with us, and we're going to talk about preventative ways after this. Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of this video. Stay calm. This is preventative ways to minimize tilt from your game. I have been working on this for a long time, many years, and I can proudly say and confidently say that I have gotten immensely better with keeping tilt to a minimum, recognizing when it happens, and also preventing it. And there's a few ways that I'm going to talk to you about today. Obviously there's going to be more, and you guys can bring them up as well, but here's a few that I have for you guys. One of them is having a really good social life and that solid foundation with your family, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, significant other. These are crazy important. What's going to happen if you have a really good solid foundation with that stuff is anytime poker goes bad, your whole life isn't just gonna like collapse, because you have all this, this solid foundation, this rock to build off of, and if you're losing in poker, it's not gonna be the end of the world. You're not gonna like freak out. Whereas if you have nothing else going on, or you're already having issues in your social life, and then poker goes wrong as well, you're gonna be in trouble. Your emotions are gonna be a roller coaster, and it's just not gonna bode well for you. Take care of these things first. I know poker's a lot of fun and we want to make money, but take care of those things. Get that solid foundation going with your social life, with your family and friends. Super important. You don't want a bunch of enemies out there. Just keep everything even keel with that. Another preventative way would be taking a break whenever you start to get heated a little bit. When you recognize those identifying factors of emotions that we talked about before in the first video, those identifying emotions that you recognize frustration or anger or regret or any of those things that we talked about, take a break, a short one, and then be honest with yourself and tell yourself, am I identified with this emotion right now, or am I still logical? And just be as honest with yourself as possible. Take strategic ways of staying relaxed and focused. This is really important as well, such as like meditating. I meditate now. I never used to. I thought it was kind of goofy, but once I started doing it, amazing. Deep breathing, getting a massage. Massages can be expensive, however, they play their part. I get one every once in a while. It helps a lot. Drink a lot of water. Stretch if you need to, get up from the table, let the blood flow again. I listen to music every once in a while, good music that helps me calm down. It keeps me focused, gets me re-energized a little bit. Recognize your pain threshold, your pain tolerance. I'm going to talk about that in the last video. That's also really important. That has to do kind of with bankroll management, kind of with just how you recognize yourself with money. Having a stop loss is also really important to some people, and some others, like I don't normally have a stop loss because I just play if the game's good. However, some people have like a 2, 3, 4 buy-in stop loss, whatever it is. If you have that because you recognize that you will tilt, make sure you honor it, make sure you obey it, make sure you obey that stop loss, because what's going to happen is if you start losing and you get to that stop loss point, and you are emotional, you might start making excuses to keep playing, which isn't good. Just stick to that. Make sure that you're active outside of poker. This is also really important. By active, I just mean like having hobbies and exercising, those kind of things. These are really important to, especially for long sessions. For those of you out there that want to play long sessions, get in shape. This helps so much, especially with blood flow and your brain thinking for long periods of time. Drinking water and exercising, super important. I can sit down for a 12-hour session and be playing my A game for a vast majority of it, which is crazy because most people out there can only play their A game for about an hour, and then, you know, they start to comatose a little bit, and they can't focus anymore. Another preventative way is having a poker friend or just a friend who kind of keeps tabs on you, and make sure that you respect them, because you're kind of putting your power in their hands. Don't make enemies with them when they tell you, hey man, you should quit. Don't get mad at them. They're trying to do you a favor. Listen to them. Think of the benefit that they're actually getting. They're not getting anything out of it. They're just trying to help you. So when they come up to you and you're losing a lot and they recognize you're tilting really bad and they say, hey man, probably time to go. Let's at least take a break or something. If you get mad at them for that, you need to take a long fucking look at yourself, because they're only helping you. They're getting nothing out of it. So respect them for that. It's super important, and it helps a lot to have someone like that. I've had someone like that every once in a while, and it does really help a lot. These are just a few of preventative ways. These are super important things to add to your game. Tilt can be a huge issue. It can be the difference between you being a really big winning player to a losing player. I mean, tilt could literally make that difference to turn you into a phenomenal world-class player. For those of you out there that are wondering, like, I don't understand why I'm not winning more money, tilt could be that issue. Make sure that you comment, like, subscribe below. We're gonna be bringing you the third video here in a while. Super excited. Make sure you stay tuned in for that. Super important stuff, guys. I'm super proud of you. You're all getting better every day. Just remember that. Stick with us. We love you. Take care.